Hi. I just want to cover a couple of things about Israel, Zionist Israel, and really intolerable things that they've been doing. And I'm incredulous actually at how the people of America and Europe, who are supposed to be civilized people, generally law-abiding nations, that uphold international law and democracy, because that's what our governments and our media generally portray, isn't it, about the West, as how we're civilized and we operate within a system of human rights and common law and democracy and a sense of social care. And yet our government, the British government, virtually every MP in Parliament, bar a few, are friends of Israel. Well, I've got nothing against people being friends of whatever nation they choose to be a friend for, okay? And I haven't really got anything against Israel itself in terms of that name as part of Palestine, okay? I have got a problem with people who align with a Zionist-controlled Israel. It's the difference between aligning with Germany, a free democratic Germany, or a Nazi-controlled Germany, isn't it? It's the difference between North and South Korea. Okay? Because certain governments, if they align themselves with despot powers, then basically the people of that nation that those governments are ruling, well, we're at risk, aren't we? Because if our government is supporting apartheid, is supporting illegal nuclear weapons, is supporting forcibly injecting women without their consent, without their knowledge, with dangerous, long-lasting contraceptives, long-term contraceptives that have dangerous side effects because they're black. These are Ethiopian settlers that the Israel authorities invited into Israel, and they are also experiencing apartheid. Apartheid isn't just against the Palestinians, it's against anybody of colour as well. And these two stories really themselves ought to wake the British people up for a start. And I'm British, and I've only voted twice in my life, okay? Once when I first was able to vote and I was about 22, and I voted Labour purely to get Margaret Thatcher voted out. And from then on in, I realised what an absolute sham it all was. The Labour Party had become a total sham. And after that, I would never vote for any MP because not one of them were saying anything even close to what we, the people, really needed to hear, what we needed to be enacted. You see, I realised the whole thing was a sham. But I did vote for Jeremy Corbyn, even though before he came along, before he brought forth his manifesto and he was just made leader of the Labour Party, I was mistrustful of him, and I'm actually still mistrustful of him. I'm still not sure that he isn't controlled opposition, because of the way that what has happened, that they pulled him off, this like obscure MP off the back benches, long-term representative of Islington, and then suddenly is the leader of the Labour Party, and then suddenly more and more, people are getting, Labour, people are joining, millions of people. He attracts millions cash into the Labour Party from membership, and then he starts talking about Palestine. Next minute, is ostracised, vilified, is anti-Semitic, and then bang, everybody, him and everybody with him, everybody who stood up. It was almost like he was a magnet, you know, like they put in these big magnets into rubble and stuff to attract all the metal out of the rubble, and that is exactly what he was used for. Now, whether he did that with knowingly or unknowingly, you know, people can be used as a tool without being aware that they're being used as a tool. Whether he was part of that, I suspect that he was part of it, was unwitting, but then the way he's behaved since then, because he really has not spoken out strongly enough. And when he was being accused of being anti-Semitic, he should have been referring to this kind of stuff. He should have mentioned it. And why didn't he? Why didn't he mention about what's been going on with the Ethiopian Jews in Israel? Why didn't he mention the illegal nuclear weapons stockpile? Why? Why didn't he openly call out apartheid? You know, was it because he's afraid for his life? Is he afraid for his family's life? Is that the situation that we're living in? Because we have to face reality. It's no good just believing what so-and-so says and just going along with the flow of like, oh yeah, well, you know, it's only a few Ethiopian black women. This racism has to end. It's destroying our planet. This whole thing that's going on with Ukraine, it all boils down to racism, really, doesn't it? Because that's what it's about. It's about ethnicity, about ethnic Ukrainians and ethnic Russians living in the land of Ukraine, which, again, is completely ridiculous because all of them are of that land. Whether they speak Russian or Ukrainian, they're all people of that land going back hundreds and hundreds of years. It's impossible to say that, oh, this person who speaks Russian isn't actually an ethnic Ukrainian. The whole thing is nonsense. And this whole war that's going on in Ukraine now is absolute nonsense. And it's being led by, what? A Zionist puppet. A Zionist puppet president. The Zionists have got their hands in Israel and are causing trouble and have robbed our nations, have robbed Europe of our stability, of our economic strength, of our unity, and they're everywhere toppling left-wing governments, so-called, because none of them really were left-wing. Let's face it, we never had a left-wing government in Britain since Attlee. And, you know, he was a true left-wing government because he combined sanity. If being sane and balanced is left-wing, I'm sorry, we need to lose this. We need to lose this idea that politics has to be about a battle. Because if you're going to have a battle in the house, okay, that's governing you, a divided house, a battle, then none of us are going to fare very well, are we? We're going to be, the boat is continually rocking, which is what you would expect of a system that is enslaved to maritime law, which goes fundamentally against common law. We are never going to reach the shores of land, are we? And arrive at some stability. We're constantly going to be suffering from seasickness, from disorientation, from confusion. Oh, we're all to the left. Oh, we're all to the right. Oh, a bit of stability. Oh, no, now. No, look, we need to stop it. This system of politics needs to end. The party is over. It's over. Because when it comes right down to it, there's no division when it comes to Israel, is there? There's no left wing, right wing when it comes to supporting Zionist-controlled Israel. Oh, no. Oh, they get unity. Israel, Zionist Israel, gets unity from both sides of our house. They're all there, aren't they? Keir Starmer, a Zionist. And look, I'm not going to go through the links now. I'll leave you the links underneath. Keir Starmer is a Zionist. Okay? Boris Johnson, a Zionist. Theresa May, a Zionist. Tony Blair, a Zionist. David Cameron, a Zionist. They all support Zionism. They all support, and so what is Zionism? It isn't a religion. It's derived from a sense, some understanding of Judaism. Like you could say, for example, the Ku Klux Klan is derived of some ideology around Christianity, and the same with Nazism is somehow connected to some extreme interpretation. But this idea of racial purity, we have to end it. It's got to end. It has got to stop. We are never ever going to move forward while we as a species are still judging each other on the bloody colour of our skin or our ethnic background. Okay, that has to stop. It is total madness. You're talking about melanin, aren't we? We're talking, it's just a chemical reaction in the skin. It has to end. It has to end. Because from there, all kind of madness. We need to recognise that people who are prepared to judge people, who are prepared to treat people in a bad way, deny them their human rights, treat them like animals because of the colour of their skin. Or now in Ukraine, it isn't even about the colour of the skin, is it? It's about what language you're speaking. And that's how mad, that's how crazy it has gotten. That it's gone from not just the colour of the skin now, that the whole world is paying the price of a war in Ukraine between people who speak Ukrainian and Russian. That is crazy. That is crazy. But our MPs are supporting this. This is what our MPs are supporting. Right? Zionism. It's all about Zionism. It's about distraction. Because while this is going on in Ukraine and everybody's looking at Ukraine and they're literally slaughtering the Ukrainian people as I speak, in our name, with our money and our weapons, and telling the people of Europe, oh, you're going to freeze this winter, you're going to starve, we're destroying your economy, it's going to get really bad, oh, there's no food, right? Because we've got to help these Nazis in Ukraine that were funded right from the start by the CIA and Britain, and I can't really say Germany because I have to say Britain and the USA, who are controlling Germany and have done ever since World War II. And the same with Canada. So basically it's Britain and America who then have dragged the far right elements, and again, you know, they're giving power and a voice to far right extremism that is now taking over every country in Europe, and then the next thing you know, the European Union will be gone. The union, our trade union, understand Europe as a trade union. Forget it as anything else but a trade union. It's a trade union. These wars are about trade. They are not about anything else. Trade and land. That is it. We're talking about colonialism, continuing colonialism, run by the corporation. All the corporations are indebted to the banks. Zionists control the world banking system. We have to face the fact of it. Zionists. That isn't to say Jews, right? It isn't about Jews, because not all Zionists are Jewish. Not all Jews are Zionists. Okay? You can have Muslim Zionists, Christian Zionists. This isn't about Jews. But they have put forward this idea that if you criticise Zionism, you're anti-Semitic. Well, I'm sorry, it isn't a criticism. You see, it isn't a criticism, and this is why I wonder about Jeremy Corbyn, because Jeremy Corbyn, you wanted to be a leader of this country, and yet you haven't got the intelligence in your head to turn round and say to these people that, I'm sorry, right, calling out crimes against humanity is not a criticism. It is not a criticism to report a crime. Okay, it is not a criticism. It's a criminal. It's a crime report. It's a crime report. This is a crime report, and they're trying to censor these crime reports, okay? They are trying to censor them. So look, I've done an example here, okay, of a Google search of this, why Israel forcibly sterilized Ethiopian Jews. So, you know, there's a video here that I've shared. I'll leave you the link to it. But as you go down, it's Israel gave birth control. This was admitted in 2013. 2013, you can see Israel has been giving contraception, 2013. By 2018, it's a big lie. Okay? It's all a big lie. 2013, no evidence that Ethiopian Israeli women were forced to be sterilised. After women claimed they were forced to take control. And here we go, more denials, more denials, more denials. And then you get on to page 2, which is as far as I've gone, you know, debunking the ongoing forcibly sterilisation, debunking it, you know, calling it forced sterilisation would be more honest. Israel admits Ethiopian women were given the birth control shots, and this was in 2019 when Israel imposed contraceptives on its Ethiopian women. The mystery is finally lifted on the astonishing 50% decline in the fertility rate of Ethiopian Jews in Israel since 2000. Okay? Israel has admitted for the first time it had been giving Ethiopian Jewish immigrants birth control injections without their consent. Right? So what they were saying at first, you know, when you looked at the thing, it's like, well, we weren't sterilising them. We were giving them a contraceptive, you see. And then you look at the side effects of this contraceptive, and I don't know if you'll be able to read it on this because it isn't a very clear video. For some reason, I don't know why. It's on top quality. So, but, you know, side effects of it are abdominal pain, acne, breast soreness, decreased interest in sex, dizziness, depression, fragile bones, headaches, irregular periods and breakthrough bleeding, nervousness, weakness and fatigue, weakened immune system, weight gain. Okay. And I think there was some more. But it basically causes osteoporosis. Okay. And, you know, Depot, that was the drug, no egg. Lead to osteoporosis in later life. Doctors are concerned that it is difficult or impossible. I don't know why it's not moving forward there. To help women who experience severe side effects because the drug is in their system for months. So once they've been injected, that's it. It's there for months and months. It's a long term. And they were giving those women that without their consent. Okay, black women. I mean, for this to happen in the 21st century is absolutely abominable. It's just mind-blowing. I can't even get my head around it. I cannot get my head around it. That these women, these people in Israel are being forced, you know, they're literally living in an apartheid system. They've been invited there as Jews, like the most ancient Jews on earth, who institutional racism. Okay. And then, on top of that, you know, there's also the weapons inspection thing that's come out in the news recently that has not been covered by any of the mainstream media. The BBC are not on it. Nobody's on it. We all get to hear about Zelensky giving some absolute garbage story about how Russia's bombed Poland, and that actually now we need full-on nuclear war. Come on, NATO, get in there. It turns out that it's Polish. It's actually Ukrainian bombs that have hit Poland. Oh, quick, everybody look away now. It's not all-out war. Well, why isn't it all-out war against the Nazis, because what are these Nazis doing? And I don't even believe that the bulk of them that are on the ground that are being literally just slaughtered like cannon fodder, you know, I do have empathy for, because for whatever reason, life has been made so difficult in Ukraine by the forces like the CIA, the Zionist control warmongers that have been on at Ukraine, particularly since 2014, okay, that have been recruiting these people. You know, you're talking about impoverished people with nothing, no hope, okay, and then suddenly along come the CIA and whoever with like wads of cash and guns and saying to these blokes that have got really nothing much to look forward to, it's like, hey, yeah, come and join in with our little Nazi group that we've set up here, and here's the beers, and oh, go and grab yourself a few girls, and you know, let's have some fun, let's you know, get some Nazi stuff going on. Look, they're speaking Russian, they're your enemy, go and tie them up at a lamppost, go and have a room full of like teenage girls, we'll go and bomb these places now, nobody's going to report us in the news really, no one's going to take any notice, and we'll just do it for 8 years and then suddenly use it when the WEF want to do their great reset to fuck up the whole of Europe and bring the people to absolute ruin, and then next minute we'll be imposing martial law everywhere when they all start rioting. Honestly, people, wake up to reality. You've got to face reality. We have to face it, because we've got a future generation here, our children. What is their future? You know, and I will upload the video. I just can't do it. I don't know how to do it from my phone, right? But I was promoting a doorstep demonstration to start on Sunday, Remembrance Sunday. And I did it for months, okay, trying my best. I contacted all the big campaign groups that are allegedly standing against, you know, supposed to be supporting us, standing against the establishment, asking them to support this doorstep demo, a national doorstep demo, that we all get on our doorstep and make a noise, a cheer for our human rights and those who fought for them. Okay? Couldn't get any help, no support whatsoever. On Sunday, between 4 and 5 p.m, I got out on my doorstep and I was there with the megaphone actually, and I did 3 cheers for our human rights and those who fought for them 3 times, and said, you know, shouted, get up, stand up for your rights 3 times, and said, you know, don't give up that fight, and went into my house, and people were looking at me out of the windows. And, you know, before I did it, because it is a bit scary, you know, like getting out onto the street, and it's quite a busy street on a Sunday afternoon, like, and just doing that, and it was like trying to find the courage to do it, because I'm not really that kind of a person. But do you know what I thought? Gosh, my granddad, he actually went out, he was prepared to die, you know, he was prepared to fight these Nazis. It's the least that I can do. I've got to do it for my granddad, you know, and I did. I got out there and I did it, and I will post the video of it at some point. I've got to get a friend to help me, because I'm absolutely useless with mobile phones and all this messing about with wires, getting stuff downloaded. A friend's going to do it, but I will do it. I'll put it up, and I did do that, and I asked people to do it. I said I want it done every single Sunday, okay? And I haven't done it this Sunday because I feel until I've got the whole street with me, because that is what we need to do. We have to do it. It is the only way. We, the people, are going to have to get on our doorsteps, and we're going to have to shout for our human rights, because it's only human rights that can stop this nonsense. When human rights are the cornerstone of the law, the foundation of our democracy, the foundation of our courts, the foundation of our law, then there is no room for Zionism, because Zionism is fundamentally anti-human rights. They claim that they're above the law. You know, how many times have I shared that article of them actually stating, the Israeli parliament stating that they are above the law, they're above international law, they're at liberty to ignore and violate the sovereign laws of every nation. Well, they are violating our sovereign laws. They have violated our economy. They have violated our parliament. They have violated our national security. This Brexit, who do you think wanted Brexit? Well, were the Zionists against Brexit? I tell you now, if the Zionists didn't want Brexit, British people wouldn't have even got a sniff of a referendum. The Zionists are behind it. They are behind the breakup of the European Union because it suits them just fine, because Europe was a powerhouse that had the power to condemn them in the United Nations. But if you can fill Europe with Nazi-style governments, nobody's going to be bothered. Look what is happening to the people of Palestine right now. And I can't even look at the atrocities. It's driving me crazy to see it every day, for how many years, every single day. This horror, this evil, all based on racism. And this BBC needs to be trashed, sued. Why haven't they covered this? Why haven't the BBC mentioned this? But they're giving that evil Zelensky with his fucking Nazis a Zionist pride. Come on, nuke Russia now, NATO. Look, they've bombed Poland. A few bits of scrap, okay. People died. Yes, people died. Why did those Polish people die? We lament the loss of life. Why did they die? They died because of Zelensky. They died because he's a puppet of these Zionist powers that are controlling the West, that are behind the WEF. And that Klaus Schwab, who the bloody hell does that man think he is? Strutting around, because he's got a lot of money and he comes from a money background. I tell you now, Klaus Schwab, you haven't got not an ounce of my passion and my understanding and my experience, because you are not intelligent. You are not emotionally intelligent. None of them are, because they've not lived. Their feet have never touched the ground. These people are the people with the least right, the least ability to have any right to control our planet and to say what is going to happen. They know nothing. They know nothing. They know what they want to believe. They pick and choose what they want to believe. They throw their money out. Whoever comes to feed at their table. Will you push this agenda for me? Will you push that? Trying to get everybody off now on this CO2 nonsense while Fukushima is churning out its absolute garbage. Trillions of becquerels of nuclear material pouring into the Pacific Ocean every day, and you have the fucking nerve to be going on to people about how much CO2 they're emitting when our planet needs CO2. And meanwhile ignoring about Israel's nuclear weapons. And finally, the UN calls on Israel to destroy its nuclear weapons. The United Nations Assembly has finally voted on a resolution calling on Israel to destroy its entire nuclear arsenal and allow inspectors from the International Atomic Agency to visit its nuclear facilities. 52 countries voted yes, 5, Canada, Israel, Micronesia, Palau and the United States against, and another 24 countries, including members of the European Union, abstained from voting. So Canada, part of Britain, it is well known that the official head of Canada is the King of Great Britain, and it is not surprising that these two countries have, as befits good servants, unanimously followed the American order. So Britain obviously voted against as well, and all of Europe. So just from that one article, we know for a fact that Canada, Israel, Europe, the whole of Europe, are all standing with Zionists. They all support illegal nuclear weapons, being controlled and owned by a country that is fundamentally apartheid, that forcibly sterilises. All right, it isn't. It is long term. These women are effectively sterilised for months after they've had these injections, or even years. Okay? On the strength that they're black. Nothing else. Because they're Jewish. So they can't even say it. Honestly, I'm lost for words. I'm lost for words. So, you know, we've got an election coming up in Britain. Okay? So who are you going to vote for, people? Because let me tell you now, I am not voting. Do not vote for any single MP that stands with Israel, with Zionist Israel. Okay? I stand with the Israeli people who are equally oppressed by the Zionists. Okay? The true Torah Jews of Israel, the genuine caring people of Israel. But the Zionists, I cannot stand with them. And actually, you know, to stand with people that are doing things like this is to condone what they're doing, condone their crime. And, you know, that is anti-Christian to do that. It is fundamentally anti-Christian. Because, you know, Jesus said, love our enemy, love your enemy. Well, you don't love your enemy by, you know, quietly condoning what they're doing because they're giving you money and power. Or because they're threatening you with a gun. Okay? Somehow we have to find out, we have to evict the Israel lobby from our parliament, okay? And every single MP that is supporting this needs to be investigated because they are aiding and abetting. It's complicity. It's aiding and abetting. The BBC is complicit in what's happened to these women. The BBC is complicit in everything that's happening against the Ukrainian people who are being attacked by Nazis right now. We know they've been bombing, Donetsk recently? They've been bombing an area in Ukraine where there's no Russians, there's nobody there except people. And yet these Nazis are bombing those people and children. Why? Why are they doing that? So until we, the people, are prepared to stand up for our rights, we're going to have to do it. Okay, all this traipsing around London every so often and throwing all your cash at these organisations, campaign groups. Oh, give your money to us, we're doing this, we're doing that. They're doing nothing except stringing you along for time. And I've called Jeremy Corbyn out. Like I say, I'm still not sure if the guy is or isn't knowingly controlled opposition. But what he is doing is not fucking helping people. Going around here and there giving his little speeches, giving people false hope about, oh yes, you know, community and, oh, we're asking for this, we're asking for that. We're asking for sanity. We are asking for our country to be rid of this evil Zionist philosophy. I love Jah, okay, and Jah loves me, and nobody shall come between humanity and our love for Jah. Nobody shall intercede, okay? Jesus, a Jew, explained this to people, that God is with all of us. God loves everybody. God does not differentiate between the colour of your skin or how rich or poor you are. That's the reality that we all need to accept. What is in your heart? Even, you know, every faith understands this. But these Zionists, they find the extremist, the criminal element that's there everywhere, in every nation. The extremists, the people who want to abuse children, the people who want to rape women, people who've got some psychological imbalance. They will seek them out and fund them and put them in high places. And Zelensky, all they need now is some coke, some cocaine. Sprinkle that around. Oh, suddenly, yeah. Oh, you've got all kinds of people. Cocaine is an absolute psychopath. You know, it is a drug that actually encourages psychopathy. And anybody who already has low empathy will easily become a terror on cocaine. You know, and there's a lot of people that will not support me. I get very, very little support on Twitter or Facebook or any of the platforms. And I never have, because I'm calling out Zionists, and everyone's like, oh, stay away from there. You'll have Mossad on your doorstep. Mossad is on our doorstep. Mossad is going to be on your doorstep, whether you like it or not. If this criminal government gives itself powers now, as they've promised, they've given themselves powers now to enforce martial law in this country if there's riots over, you know, what they've been doing with this Brexit nonsense. People having no money, no food, no heating. Okay, they're giving themselves the power of martial law. I've already explained to them that actually that is not a right, because any government that has knowingly inflicted such damage on its own people in its own country, if they then use martial law, that isn't martial law. That is a military coup. That is call for civil war. Okay, that is time when the British military have to stand up and say, actually, fuck off, because the people have every right to be angry at a government that has robbed them and is killing them for the sake of Nazis and for the sake of lies, a pack of lies they told about Brexit that only benefits Zionists and the Crown of Britain, the Crown that is fully in bed with Zionism. The Crown, the British Crown, the Royal Crown, because that's what we're looking at, is a corporate crown takeover of our nation, turning Britain into a tax haven. That is what they want to do. All the Crown-controlled tax haven territories, they all belong to the Crown. It's got nothing to do with Britain and the British people. They've had trillions out of the whole world, right? And that's why Britain and Israel, as Zionist Israel, are literally peas in a pod. We the people we need to stand up. And you know, like my granddad, he went out there ready to give his life, and he did give his life fighting against fascism. And we need to do the same. We have to be fearless. It's the only way we're going to save our children. Feel the fear and do it anyway. I felt the fear to get on my own doorstep and just shout through a megaphone for my human rights. Why should I feel that in my country, in my own country that's supposed to be a free country, a democratic country that my granddads and so many men and women gave their lives for? Why didn't everybody come out and join me? Because everybody's brainwashed by the BBC. Turn that evil bastard BBC off. Turn them off. Turn them off. End them. Break that evil organisation. Get them up on trial, right? For crimes against humanity. Aiding and abetting complicity in crimes against humanity. And every single MP, right, you know what you have been supporting. You have been supporting on an illegal nuclear power that's been running an apartheid regime and actually sterilising black women that they've invited into their country as Jews. And everything that, and even right down now to supporting Nazis and telling British people they're going to die this winter. They've got no health care. They've got no money, no this, no that. Over what? A Zionist controlled Brexit. Because who was there at number 10 when Boris Johnson unlawfully prorogued Parliament the next day? Who was there? Yeah, Netanyahu. Who's now back leader of Palestine? Of Israel. It is Palestine. Who is there? Netanyahu. Yeah. Netanyahu, war criminal. You're a war criminal, Netanyahu. You see, that's my love for you, that I will tell you the truth. And you will accept that truth and save your own soul if you can. Okay? But I'm not going to lie to you, and your fear is not going to make me lie, and fear of anything is not going to shut me up, and you're not going to stamp out the truth, because you can kill my body, but you will never ever destroy the light of truth. That belongs with Jah, and that land is a holy land, and it's about time it shone. A beacon so bright that every single evil apartheid nonsense in this world is blinded forever. Okay, and gone. turn the vampires to dust. Because Israel and Palestine, they should be a beacon of light to humanity, to show us that, look, here is a multi-racial nation. And everybody, look how we get on, how we live in peace, how we live with human rights, how we honour Jah law, universal law, how the lion lies down with the lamb, how everybody is equal in the eyes of the law, from the first to the least. The children that are the least in our societies, in our world, the minor human being, as our legally defined, our children, minor human beings. Come on, humanity, what kind of species are you? How dare you define your own children as unimportant and insignificant? A triviality. Make the children of VIPs. These MPs are not VIPs. They're our servant. They're a servant to our children. Get your head round. Turn your head the right way up. Get yourself straight. The children, VIP, the MP, minor compared to the child. It's word spells. Yeah, and I know people will be like, oh, look, she's ranting and raving again. She's ranting and raving. Well, go and stand on a bloody Labour ward and listen to what it takes to bring a baby into this world, you ignorant fuckheads out there. You judges. Well, you will all be judged. You see, you will all be judged. And that's something, again, this world doesn't want to take into consideration, the reality of your human soul. That doesn't die when your body dies, and you will face your conscience and everything you've done while you're alive in this body, and you will have to explain yourself to yourself, because Jah doesn't judge anybody. We all judge ourselves. Our own conscience rises and shows who we are, what we've done, what's in our heart. And some do end up casting themselves into oblivion, because there's nowhere they can go. There's no room for them, because they never lived by the true light of this universe. They lived in the darkness of space. They spent their lives spending their money to keep the light out. They created their own little electric lights, didn't they? Hey, their own little electric spotlight. Oh, look, this. Turn them off, people. Turn them off, turn them off, turn them off, turn them off. Step out into reality. Step out into your universal being. Stop being what this world has programmed you to be. A little sheeple, bleating, oh, turn the other way. Yeah. Write to your BBC. Ask them. There's lots of things you can do. Write to your BBC. Write to your MPs. Okay? Just be honest. Just say, why are you supporting this? You will not get my vote. I am not voting for you. Oh, the Green Party have now decided to accept the Zionist definition of anti-Semitism. Sorry, Green Party. F off. We're not going to vote for you. If you haven't got the balls to call out a spade, why should you run our country? Why should we have any faith in you whatsoever to run our nation? Because it is time. It is time that people stood up for our rights. It really is. God bless the children. God bless the children. Stand up for the children. You know, and I do include Zionist children as well. All children. And be honest. Honesty. That's how you love your enemy, is by being honest. And if they can't take it and they want to kill you, if that's all they can give for our love is hatred, then that's all they'll end up with. But these people have no right to govern our planet. They're dangerous people. They're going to take humanity in a very, very bad place. And the longer you leave it, people, the worse it is going to get. They've not even started yet. What's happening in Israel, Palestine, what's happening in Ukraine, that is coming to every nation. Unless you are prepared now to say no to that and yes to our human rights and sanity.